friends, how are you? I hope you're well. So if I look down, I have my laptop right here. I made notes so that way I can stay on topic and I don't get off topic, and then this video ends up being way longer than I need it to be. So up until now, I haven't showed much of my personality or just revealed that much about myself in general. Most of my followers are like friends or family or people who I've just kind of like met along the way, or some people who were like followed during one of my like random song eras. So therefore I want to reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm Dippity and I am a singer-songwriter from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm in a girl group, TVH, go follow them. I'm most likely going to put the @ hopefully right there, because if I just pointed to nothing, that is kind of embarrassing for me. I occasionally do tarot, which somebody or some people may have followed me from that, and I don't know, what else do I do? That's why I have notes, so I can make cuts when I start going out. Okay, back on track. So I tend to also like things that are like strange or unconventional that many people find, I guess, weird in a way, especially just for like me. I don't know. But I guess for like the past few years, I've just been like going through a lot. And I've been more open about it now, but I've been basically like losing myself, refining myself. There's been like a whole bunch of rebranding and things like that, a whole lot of freaking rebranding. And I also kind of like have like cool and just like unusual stories along the way. I am playing with my hands. I am so nervous. Again, I'm glad I'm doing this and cutting it because Lord. I will say that I find myself more nervous to make these videos because I used to make YouTube videos and I used to upload on YouTube, and then I stopped. And that is just mostly to do with the fact that I found myself in a lot of unsavory situations. Like the past few years, I've gone through a lot. I've had people talk about my weight, like strangers, I don't know, talk about my weight, how I look, my music, and just compare me to X, Y, and Z. Like you don't sound like this person, therefore you're never gonna make it, or you don't have the look, or just being like slandered randomly online by people who I've never met in person. And because of that, sometimes I'm a little bit more nervous to share my more vulnerable sides of myself, or just my more authentic self, because in private it's not acceptable, or I'm not acceptable to most, or I'm just too much to most, or sometimes I'm just really not enough for most. But yeah, let me get back on track before it gets sad. To clarify though, I'm in a lot better state, I would say, because I'm no longer really that afraid to be myself, because I know that I'll attract people who are meant to actually be there, and I'll attract fans who like my music and my style and me just for, you know, me for who I am and what I uniquely bring to the table. And I can firmly say that now I'm really not afraid to stumble or fall. I'm not afraid to fail. I failed multiple times, and that's just no longer a fear. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about how many people view it, because I know that the people who are meant to see it will see it, even if it's not at that exact moment. So yeah, I'm not afraid to not, like, I'm not afraid of being wrong. I'm not afraid of being the student and not the teacher. Sometimes it just calls for that. And I'm not afraid to be myself, because I think I'm beautiful, and I think I'm worthy, and I think have a purpose in this life, and I don't think anybody can tell me differently, and I won't be taking any more advice or listening to anybody who isn't firm in themselves or isn't firm in what they want to do, and they aren't even living their truth or speaking their truth. So it's like, why should I listen to you? So and if you have been going through the same thing, or if you struggle with those feelings, just know that you aren't alone in this, especially to like people who are like neurodivergent or things like that and they just never been in the in crowd. It's okay to not be in the in crowd, because making your own crowd is just as acceptable. And so yeah. So besides all that sad stuff, let's just move on. So I wanted to share, I do have notes. I am reading my notes, don't judge me. So I wanted to share about like the songwriting aspect, or at least just like breaking down the process of I Don't Like Green Beans, which I just dropped. It is available on all streaming platforms, so go check it out if you like. I've been getting a lot of questions, both like publicly and also privately. Most of them are private. A lot of my family members are really confused as to what is going on and why this song exists in the first place, and they're also really confused about like photos and stuff, but I digress. So obviously the main question is why? Like, why make a song about like green beans? Like, what is going on here? That is so weird. And that's a great question. The short answer is basically why not? But the full explanation is because that something as like simple as not liking a food is considered something that is trivial or adolescent in theory. And going back to childhood, I really hated green beans, and I'm sure like everyone has a certain type of food that they don't like. Green beans for me is like the texture is gross, the smell is revolting, everything about it was just nasty. And what kind of feelings do we typically feel when we end up not liking something? It's like, it's anger, it's sadness, it's disgust, it's oftentimes anxiety, because we're upset at the fact that a lot of times we're forced to eat it and clear it off our plate, and upset that nobody's listening, or like the person isn't listening when we're explaining that this is something that we don't like, right? So these feelings are similar to broken boundaries, boundaries that are broken on purpose despite the ample amounts of communication that's been given beforehand. If I express to someone that I don't like something or I don't want something, and that boundary is broken and is done anyways, I tend to feel those emotions of anger, upset, anxiety, even sometimes like regret. It's like relating it to that, except these are bigger emotions, right? And I think these interactions tend to leave us with lasting effects. I mean, even going back to like green beans and like disliking green beans, when you go back to that state of like being a child, it's something about it you just always remember. I always remember like just hating the smell. I always remember sitting at the table and just having to stare at the plate that's in front of me, and that's green beans, and I'm being forced to eat it and I don't want to eat it. That's just something that sticks with you, and that's much like when a boundary is broken, there's lasting effects on not only your inner child, but like on your whole mental psyche. It doesn't matter, you know, sometimes it just sits with you. And by relating these big feelings to something, you know, as innocent or small as that, it makes it easier to digest, and it makes it easier to get my point across. And another thing is that the song itself, it overlaps a lot. The words are there's like words being whispered over the the actual like main vocal track, and there's vocals that are like stumbling over each other, and everything feels like rushed on the slow beat, especially in like the pre-chorus. It's kind of like mimics like a thought or like a rush thought. And of course I experienced like rejection sensitivity, so I never like to disappoint people, and I never want them to express like disappointment in me, but the need to protect my boundaries oftentimes outweighs those feelings, and that's kind of what I wanted to also like talk about, and that's like mostly in the pre-chorus. And I also want the song to like kind of represent what I think when I have like anxious thoughts, because in those moments, like everything is going at once, all the emotions are happening at once, all my thoughts are happening at once, they're stumbling into each other, they're hitting each other, it's causing headaches, it's doing a lot. And those who are neurodivergent or have ADHD may actually relate to the song a little bit more. And I also just like the concept of cute things with like a darker meaning, and it's not a new concept. There's plenty of people who have done it, plenty of notable people who are really talented and have done that. I just wanted to do my own take and my own kind of like unique spin to it. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to touch on. Anyways, once again, I Don't Like Green Beans is on all streaming platforms, and I'm very proud of this release. I really like it. It was a very therapeutic song to make, actually. And my phone gave mad at me. I recorded too many videos. But all I wanted to say is thank you for the support. Thank you for following, liking, and just being there. I love you.